Do you remember seeing the 2018 God of War announcement where Kratos stepped out of the shadows and the level of hype was unreal? The crowd went wild.
I am hungry. Feed us.
Well, the next mainline God of War game has been announced in PlayStation's State of Play, and yeah, something's changed here.
My magic, it's wrong here. I feel wrong here.
You want out, right?
I think we all want that.
And for the first time, many people seem to be split over a God of War game announcement. Now, my initial reaction to seeing the reveal was confusion. Because in some ways, it feels like a God of War game, but in other ways, it feels like we're moving away from the God of War formula. Now, I'm not ready to write it off just yet because there are good things about this reveal. But in this video, I want to give you a rundown of everything that's coming in this new game, what's exciting, and what are the things that are causing so much controversy.
Kratos!
So the new game is revealed as God of War Laufey, or Laufey, depending on how you pronounce it. And get ready for the controversy. Kratos is no longer the main protagonist in his own franchise. At least not in this game. The state of play footage gave us about 20 solid minutes of gameplay, and it seems to imply that Kratos is going to only be making cameo appearances in this game. Now, I felt an immediate disappointment at this revelation because my expectations were set pretty high to expect a new Kratos game, or at the very least an Atreus game with Kratos where you play as both of them like we've done in Ragnarok, because Kratos is the God of War, and it feels really weird to just have him ripped out of the main character role and replaced with someone else. So instead, the main protagonist of the new God of War is going to be Atreus. Sorry, no, that would be the logical decision. It's going to be Faye, who is Kratos' dead wife, who we saw Kratos put on a funeral pyre 2 games ago. Now, with Faye being the big controversy, I need to make something very clear here, because I'm seeing a lot of discourse around this online. Fans are not upset because the new protagonist is a woman. Fans are upset because there is a new protagonist, full stop. People clearly expected a new Kratos or Atreus game based in a new ancient civilization. A lot of people were theorizing it was going to be ancient Egypt or something like this. And to be honest, at the end of Ragnarok, we did see Atreus going off on his own adventures, which would have been like a perfect setup for the next game. For me personally, making Faye the main protagonist just feels like a curveball, an unnecessary one. Her appearance in the franchise has served its purpose, to advance the story of Kratos and Atreus. I don't really see any need to tell Faye's story other than the creators just like her character and want to tell the story, and that's clearly evident from the creator interviews.
Kratos is sort of the
trunk of our tree.
And he sort of drives the franchise forward, and we want to follow him, but there are so many interesting characters that we created along the way. And for me, Faye and Sindri are, to me, the 2 most interesting characters. That they have very interesting, examined lives that I really want to go deeper into.
As far as I can see, nobody asked for Faye, nobody wanted Faye as the main protagonist. It definitely feels like this is one of those if it ain't broke, don't fix it situations. You had a great formula going, why change it? And we all know how subverting audience expectations has gone in the past. Personally, I don't think there would have been any controversy whatsoever if this game had been announced as a spin-off title. The problem is, it's been announced as the next mainline game in the series, but here we are, this is what the game's going to be. Now, I personally don't think all is lost, but I want to get into what I really liked about the reveal and what I really didn't like about the reveal, aside the main protagonist issue. And so you guys can decide whether you agree or disagree. So what is Faye's journey going to be in this game? Well, the whole premise seems to revolve around this idea that Faye needs to live up to this promise of coming home.
Find your way home.
Now, we all know what we expect from a great God of War game, so long as the writing, the story, the combat, the boss battles are all solid and excellent, and so long as the story actually circles back to Kratos and Atreus, most people will still enjoy this game. So what's good about this reveal? Well, the acting is fantastic. Deborah Ann Woll is a great actress, and the motion capture and the animation already is looking really solid.
Where am I?
She's definitely got the capability to pull off a main character in a game, and she's already having some badass moments here.
You touch me again, and I swear, I will kill you.
Combat and cutscenes look fantastic as always. The combat looks visceral and brutal and animated. It looks like it's going to be a fun time mashing those buttons. The music, as always, sounds fantastic, and we're getting hints of the old God of War Ragnarok theme creeping in certain moments. The visual fidelity is outstanding, and the concepts and designs for some of these characters are really cool. So again, as always, the artists have knocked this one out of the ballpark. But there are also, for me, some things that are not so good. In this game, we are no longer framing things within one ancient mythology. Instead, what we've got now is a world where Faye is apparently in the afterlife of the gods. I have a problem with this kind of stuff whenever we bring back characters from the dead, or whenever we show there's a life after death. I had the same problem with Shadowlands and World of Warcraft. Finality has an impactfulness to it, and I just honestly hate it when franchises do this, just to expand the scope of things. Oh, we want to make things bigger and crazier, so we're going to space, or we're going to the heavens, and we're going to see there's a whole afterlife and a plane of existence here we can explore. It's like, yeah, but now you're cheapening the character deaths that we've seen before, and any character deaths that are coming in the future, now they're not as impactful because I know that character's not really dying, they're just going to another plane of existence and living a new life there. Now, this already raises a weird question because I thought Faye was a giant, not a god, unless I missed something in the lore, but already now you're going to have to answer how the hell she's ended up in the god afterlife instead of the giant afterlife. The environment has me in two minds, because in one mind, it's beautifully designed. We see ancient ruins covered in overgrowth, and we see cliffs that are lush, and it seems like an interesting landscape to explore. We see like a white flying fox, and we see a Cheshire cat, basically, that is just something that appears and leads Faye out of the ruins. It is clearly going to be something that follows her around. We also see a giant six-legged, like lion cat creature thing. It's a very cool design, and it flies, by the way.
They fly now? They fly now!
And this is something that we've all come to expect from a God of War game. We need the giant mythological creatures. We also meet new characters. We do meet what seem to be two main villains, which are two gods of war. One of them is called Begtsi or Bektsi. I'm probably massacring that name. And they are the god of war for the ancient Mongols. The other one is called Sekhmet, who's meant to be the Egyptian goddess of war. Now, their designs look really cool and threatening as villains, but what it means is we're going to get a mishmash of ancient mythologies here. And this, for me, is something that actually takes away from what I've come to expect from the tone of a God of War game. Because in all previous God of War games, we've been clearly set within one ancient mythology. And I've quite liked that because it grounds me within that world. Now we're sort of saying, no, we're in the afterlife and anything goes and there's a mishmash of everything. I'm sure some people are going to love this because they get to explore lots of different crazy stuff. I just personally preferred taking on one ancient pantheon at a time. The other thing that's kind of weirding me out about the world itself is that there are some environment assets that, again, detract from the tone I've come to know and love from God of War. So there is this huge structure that seems to be called the Gate, and it looks like it's made by aliens more than gods. At least personally, that's what came across visually to me. It's like a cubular structure made of lots of different, like, voxel cubes almost. And this is something that I'd expect to see in No Man's Sky. Also in the distance, we see something that looks like a huge, like, steampunky mage tower with a humongous, almost cartoonish telescope hanging out the top of it. So while the environment looks fantastic, a lot of it just doesn't feel like God of War for me. But who knows, maybe as we explore, the design of the world's going to be explained in relation to the gods that live there and all this kind of stuff. It's too early to tell. So we see a weird mix of like the standard enemies that you're going to fight. We have like tin men with floating heads, and we have flower creatures, humanoid plants with literal flower heads and thorny swords. And then we meet a couple of side characters that are going to clearly join you on your journey in this world. And we have a gelatinous cube played by Huey from The Boys.
Rue? I think you should give her the sword.
And then we have a sword, or rather floating ribbons wrapped around the handle of a sword that have a ladies' New Zealand accent, which for some reason completely pulls me out of the God of War experience as well, in the same way that like an American accent would pull me out of Lord of the Rings, right?
I'm not the sword. I'm the ribbons, obviously. And my name is Rue. The cube is Frank.
Right.
Now, the real problem with the cube and the floating ribbons is the fact that they just feel completely out of place in a God of War game. I've seen a lot of people saying they obviously feel very Dungeons and Dragons, and honestly, that's a great way of describing what I felt the tone shift was in this reveal. This reveal felt like God of War in its combat and in its cutscenes and in its acting, but it did not feel like God of War in some of its character and world design. Like, can you imagine the meeting in the studio where they're talking about who can be the best side character for this journey for Faye? I got a great idea. What about a great big jelly cube? Give that man a raise, right? Like, where have you pulled this from? I think the problem for me with all of this reveal is that it's really taken me out of what I've come to expect from the tone of God of War, which is firstly, we are following Kratos' story, but secondly, we are set within an ancient mythology. Now, we're going to a completely new plane of existence that feels like it could be more Dungeons and Dragons than God of War. So that's everything that's coming. Is it time to despair? Has God of War been lost to wokedom? No. I don't think there's enough evidence of that. The combat looks fantastic. Some of the designs are really cool despite being a mishmash. And also, by the way, it's not like they're forcing a completely random character on us. Faye has been important to the story. And not only that, we know she is meant to be a badass, right? I mean, she not only went toe-to-toe with Thor, she was the original wielder of the Leviathan axe, so we know she can handle herself. She can also handle a marriage with Kratos of all people, so she's a badass. But she's not the God of War. And it just leaves me wondering, who is this for? Have we kind of forgotten a little bit who our target audience is? Because that question could have easily been answered in any previous announcement for a God of War game. But in this one, I'm left a little bit confused. I'm not ecstatic with the reveal for this game like I was in the past with other previous God of War game reveals. I love the God of War franchise, and I really want to see it succeed, and Santa Monica have given us plenty of evidence in the past that they can deliver outstanding games. But I also consider myself a little bit of a realist, and I feel like we've been burned so many times seeing our favorite franchises being taken in new creative directions. Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, World of Warcraft, and I just hope that's not what's happening. We have a great winning formula, let's stick to it. But that's just me. That's my conclusion and summary of the reveal. Hopefully, Santa Monica do consider fan expectations moving forward. I would still love to see the Kratos and Atreus adventures in ancient Egypt and taking on the pantheon of gods there. So I guess all we can do is wait and see. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Are you excited for this one? Are you disappointed with this one? And if you enjoyed this video or learned something, don't forget to like and subscribe because it will really help the channel out moving forward. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. And hey, worst comes to worst, we've still got Wolverine and Tomb Raider to look forward to, so not a complete loss.